Hello. Did you know that 32% of the United States welfare cases are in California? This means that California puts $42.1 billion of taxpayers' money into the welfare system each year. Did you also know that you can be on welfare for up to 5 years as an adult? And if you have children, you can be on the system until they are 18 years old? Program requirements are minimal and includes a list of only 6 things. Welfare, also known as the TANF program and CalWORKs in California, is a program that does have a purpose and it does benefit the population today. While the CalWORKs program does have its benefits, the program needs to be reformed and it needs to happen fast. There are 3 things that must happen in order for the CalWORKs program to continue to be successful and a benefit to our society. 1. We must begin to drug test the recipients. 2. The benefit should only work for necessities and the things a person needs to survive. And 3. Those who test positive for drugs will get the help that they need, and all others will get assistance in finding a job or improving their job skills. Let me begin by stating once again that the CalWORKs system is a needed and beneficial program for those who do not take advantage of it. It is the ones that do take advantage of the program that my speech is directed towards. Welfare was created during the Great Depression. It was used to help those families with children and widowed women who needed help. But even long before that, there was a program that gave money to those who were disabled and warehouse jobs to those who were unemployed. The 1996 welfare reform brought big changes and large improvement to the program, but there was still more to be desired. When you read about all the new laws and regulations on the government websites, the new programs sound wonderful. But when you look out into the real world and see what is really happening, it's easy to see that nearly none of the things that sound so wonderful about CalWORKs are actually happening. It is severely flawed and it is unregulated. It is very easy for people to slip through the cracks and to take advantage of a program that's designed to help those that actually need it. Any person on welfare needs to be drug tested. To me, it's as simple as that. Yes, I know that not every person on welfare is a drug abuser or an alcoholic. But the benefits of the drug testing outweigh the negatives. A person on welfare who is not on drugs should not be offended by the need to partake in a drug test, seen as people who work and go to college are drug tested as well. There is no stigma or judging implied by partaking in a drug test. An easy way to fund this drug test, since that's a complaint that many have, would be to take a small amount of money from each individual's CalWORKs check for that month. The amount would be small and doable since the need to drug test would not be every month, possibly every 3 or every 4 months. And I know a lot of people are going to say that they'll just not do drugs for that week. But that's a small amount of drug abusers and alcoholics that could even feasibly do that because it's an addiction and they have a problem. So the odds of a person actually being able to stop drugs just for a drug test to get their welfare are so small. Me and my husband, we both work very hard and we live very frugally. I'm a full-time nursing student and I work part-time, and he's a full-time electrician and he goes to school part-time. He works really, 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 really hard, and school is really difficult too. We purchased a home after we got married and we pay all of our own bills. We do qualify for public assistance, but we do not take it. We and all other working Americans pay our taxes, and a lot of these taxes that we pay go into this welfare system and help support those who need our help. I know that I don't want this money going towards drug addicts. I don't work hard to barely get by and not being able to enjoy myself just so those people can not work and still get to enjoy benefits that I don't even have. I know it sounds harsh, but remember, my final topic of discussion is getting help for those who need it, so I will discuss that later. Like I stated above, in order to get into nursing school, I had to take a drug test. In order for my husband to get a job, he had to take a drug test. In order for him to continue to work, he can take random drug tests whenever his employer feels the need. And if he ever gets hurt on the job, then he will instantly have to take a drug test after whatever the event was. It makes no sense for us to have to take these drug tests in order to pay into the welfare system, while those in the system benefiting from our money do not have to live by the same standards. An argument against drug testing is, what about the kids? It's not fair to the kids. It's not fair to take them from their homes, and it's a traumatic event and it can cause lifelong problems. But it's very clear to me that these people do not know the real statistics. Children raised in homes with drug abuse are 25% more likely to be drug abusers themselves. Therefore, a life being on the welfare system just like their parents were. And children raised in home with alcoholics, they are 4 times more likely to be an alcoholic in their future. Also, a child raised in a home with drug or alcohol abuse are 2 to 3 times more likely to be a victim of sexual or physical or emotional abuse, which is just not okay with me. Another argument is that there are certain drugs that can't be tested and that it's not cost effective. I did state above my solution for the cost effective part. Just take a small amount of money out of their check, and the government needs to create some sort of way where they could be the ones that do the drug testing. Well, they don't have to outsource it. But my answer to the problem that certain drugs can't be tested is that there is no perfect solution to any problem. Testing for more common and cost-effective drugs is better than not testing for any. If we can help one more child escape from abuse and get one more man back to work and possibly off drugs, then a welfare reform was worth it. The next problem is that we need to only help and supply the necessities that people need to get by. After we begin drug testing, we need to reform the way that they are allowed to spend their benefits. Currently, EBT cards can be used for fast food, lottery tickets, at strip clubs, casinos, at extremely expensive grocery stores, and to get cash back at any store that accepts EBT. These practices being allowed are not only contributing to the use of EBT money for substance abuse, but it is unfair to the many who work hard and can't afford to do many of those luxuries. Currently, the same applications for CalWorks is used for CalFresh or food stamps. Usually, if a family qualifies for one program, they qualify for the other, and all of their benefit money is put directly onto this EBT card, which they can be used just as a debit card at almost any store that you go to. This allows for large amounts of cash to be withdrawn from this card to be used for any of the above pleasures of life. The ability to withdraw cash again disproves the statement from the above. What about the kids? Once the money is off the card and is available to be freely spent wherever the person finds necessary, there is no proof whatsoever that the money on this card is going towards the children whom the money is meant for. My husband, through his work, he is covered through insurance, which we pay for. He gets a thing called a Benny card, which is a benefit card. For every hour that he works, a certain amount of money goes onto this card. This card can be used only for health-related expenses, such as contact solution, aspirin. We can't use it for vitamins or anything like that, but just things that we need. This card is regulated and there is no cashback option. This is how the CalWorks money needs to be dispensed. The card should work only for food and other necessities that are needed. No alcohol, cashback, makeup, or toys should be allowed to be purchased with tax-funded money. I know this sounds like a lot of work and it would take more regulation, but the regulations that they say they already have in place could go towards funding and regulating some of these new ideas that I had. And I'm not the only one that thinks these. If you go online and do an internet search about welfare, there are thousands upon thousands of websites dedicated to the need to drug test and monitor spending of welfare recipients. So the third thing that needs to be done to reform the welfare system is that we need to help the sick people get better, and the ones who aren't, we need to help them get a job. In order for any of the changes I mentioned above to be effective in improving our society, we need to make help available for those who need it. And I could go on for hours about how we need to help the drug addicts and the mentally disabled and so on and so forth. So think about it. Instead of spending $45,000 per year on average on each individual prison inmate in California, it would be cheaper in the long run to send this person to a rehab facility. This takes care of 4 immediate problems. 1, we get a person, possibly an entire family, out of the welfare system. 2, we can help get a person off drugs. 3, we save $45,000 on a prison inmate. And 4, we possibly can rescue a child from an abusive situation. While there are resources available for those able to work, the program is flawed and it needs to be shifted. The focus needs to be on helping train the individual in how to work without the help of the government. We need to train these people on how to find jobs, how to do their resume, how to dress appropriately. We need to show them available resources for them to be able to go get clothes that are job appropriate. And we need, number 1, to train them in specific fields. I know we can't send every person through college, but there are programs out there that would be cheaper for us, such as a vocational training school, medical assisting, medical billing. being a mechanic, all of those types of things would be better than having somebody on the welfare system for their entire life. This would solve the problem of generational welfare recipients. It would help create an environment of learning for a child raised in a welfare environment. This child will observe his or her parents working to help support a family, and they will want to do the same someday for their own family. Since the last welfare reform, welfare recipients have either been required to look for work or be working. But this practice is not very well monitored. So in order for these new reforms to be successful, the citizens of California must expect and require our leaders and state officials to enact and enforce these new laws. Requiring drug testing, monitoring spending, and helping those who need it will improve the CalWORks system and will improve the state of California. These three improvements that I just discussed are only the first steps to help begin to fix a fragile system in need of major repair. I know that we all do not share the same opinions, and I would like to thank you all for respectfully listening to my speech. Thank you.